So your first Ironman was 4 months after you started training for it, 4 months after you had a baby.
2 half Ironmans and a full Ironman in 6 months. You remove the pressure of expectations for yourself and what you think people have on you, and you become more authentic. Your creativity comes back. And then I've found myself again. I'm more successful now than I was then. And I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. You don't need to do an Ironman, but find your Ironman and let's build strength and fitness and rebirth ourselves as humans and women.
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here, Hannah. I'm going to do an intro side from this. So I like to jump right in.
Let's do it.
You ready for these rapid fire questions?
I'm ready.
Okay. You can only pick one.
Okay.
Creatine or protein powder?
Creatine.
Love that answer. HIIT or weightlifting?
Oh, HIIT.
I know you're a HIIT girl. I've been following you forever, since the pink hair, way back in the day. Like, she's a HIIT girl, but I know you like to lift too. Dumbbells or barbell?
Dumbbells.
Too skinny or too bulky?
Too bulky.
Fitness or nutrition?
Fitness.
Surprising. These are surprising answers. I love it. Okay, so a little bit more rapid fire, but a little longer questions. What's your biggest fitness pet peeve in the industry right now?
Someone that jumps before they do a burpee. So you know what I mean? Let the chest touch the floor first, then come up and tap.
Wow, this is hilarious.
This is a good one. Probably not what you're expecting.
That is not what I was going to expect you to say. Why?
It's just like a pet peeve of mine, you know? And I thought I was the only one. And then, the dude with the sign?
Yeah.
He don't clap before you burpee. I'm like, this is a thing.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I feel like in high rocks or something, you have to do the jump first.
Really?
Right?
I don't know. I haven't gone to.
Well, I know you don't do a lot of that, but I was like, I always used to do chest to ground first. And then, I think I got in trouble for not jumping
no
first.
Way. Maybe this is why. Maybe I'm the one that's in the wrong.
Gosh.
This is fantastic.
Yes, I love this. Okay, what trend right now do you think is a load of shit?
There's a lot of trends are a load of shit. But I keep seeing and I love it when people post about other creators or influencers, like how to grow a butt without working out.
Yeah.
All of this stuff. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and I don't know if you saw this. Are you on TikTok much?
No.
Okay, well, there was that 12-hour ban that was happening. And so right before the ban, there were all of these people that were coming out of the woodwork saying hey, here's something I've been lying about forever. And there was a ton of influencers that were like, I actually have a BBL. And I was like, I knew it.
And now you're doomed because we're back in 12 hours.
Exactly. I'm like, so you better take that back.
Yeah.
What trend do you feel like is worth the hype?
Creatine. Creatine's worth the hype. I've been doing a lot of research, most studied supplement. And I think it's a great thing that we're all a little late to the party, you know?
I agree. I feel
it used to be for jack dudes and it's for your muscles. No, I think brain function, cognitive enhancement, recovery, performance, overall health is just a great supplement.
How long have you been taking it now?
A long time. Yeah. But I stopped taking all supplements when I got pregnant.
Right.
And then I'm in the process of trying to stop breastfeeding. Okay. And now I've been back on it for 2 months.
Okay. Do you feel a difference already?
Yeah. We can get into that. But I had some really interesting drops of dopamine after the crazy goal that I had last year. That was in a really dark place for a while. Okay. And so that's when I started researching more about what can I take, 5-HTP, creatine, and I'm doing both those things. And I feel back to myself, which is fantastic.
Let's just get into it now. What happened?
I set a goal in January of last year, which would have meant I was 4 months postpartum to do a full Ironman by the time my son was 1, which was very on brand for me. Trying to find out who I was post-baby, what's my identity? Everyone tells me I can't do these things anymore. Wanted to prove it to myself, but also show other mums too that they can do hard shit after they have a baby. And so I did that. So you can imagine what that looks like for training. A lot of time alone, built up to 8-9 hour training days, just so much output, and a mom, and running businesses, and being a wife, and being a friend, and being all the things that I was chasing for the whole year. And then once the goal was hit, I just fell into this really dark place. Of course, the day-to-day change is, my identity, my time, what's the intention with my time now? But there had to have been a chemical drop, a massive dopamine drop. Cortisol levels were all over the place. Yeah. And so I've just had my hormones tested. Haven't got those results yet. But I've been on this crazy weird, and I know myself. Yeah. I know my mind well enough to understand when something's actually wrong or if this is just a bad day. And I'm talking like the lowest of the lows. Like the conversation in my head was really shitty.
Yeah.
And I could just feel like it just wasn't me. So I needed to tap into that a little bit deeper.
Was this before or after the actual event? Because it's September, right?
After. So I did the full in September, then I did a half in December. I qualified for World Championships somehow. And it was right after that. Got home from New Zealand and was just like, vroom.
Okay,
like,
so this is like really recent that this all happened.
Yeah. Like I would say in the last 2 weeks is the only time I've been starting to feel like I'm totally back to normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a weird thing.
I appreciate you coming in here and even having this conversation after all that has happened.
This is the way to do it, right? Share.
Yeah.
And just share the journey and the process and everything that comes along with that.
When you had, set out with that goal of having an Ironman, before your son turns 1, what was like the real intention behind it?
So I've always done hard things. Like my husband poses that question to me all the time. He's like, why do you pick the most difficult times to do the hardest things?
Yeah.
And I think just knowing myself since I've been a kid to who I am now, I have like these demons, and that it's a really dark streak that exists. And I used to try and avoid it and run away from it, but I totally accept that. And so when I start to feel them creeping back up, I've had a history of being involved with things that aren't great for me, my health or my life. And I know I can catch it ahead of time. So when after the baby, I was like, is this it? Again, is this my identity? This is all I know is performance, output, fitness, doing things that are really hard and impossible and achieving the goal and just being such a high achiever. And so I wanted to see if I still could do that. And on the journey, towards these things, I find all the answers that I can't find when I'm staying still. That's what fitness has always been for me. A place to metabolize, a place to be alone with thoughts, with no music, no distractions. And it brings me to a place of finding what I'm looking for, stop seeking, like you're here, and I find like a new layer. And I was really craving that.
Were you craving that because of more postpartum after having a baby, or just like trying to figure out who you really were after baby?
A bit of both. During my pregnancy, I was active, but not to the caliber that I typically am. Yeah. So I think I was scratching and itching for a goal. I've always had something that's on the calendar that I'm working towards. Okay. And for almost a year, I didn't have that, right? And even leading up to getting pregnant, we'd been trying for so long. So I was trying to lessen the output and soften my life a little bit more to try and help with the situation. So it'd been like a few years since I've done anything hard. Yeah. And I was just had this like itch to do that. And then, like finding myself after being a mom, like I allowed society's opinions and fears, I think, and projections of regret to really affect like, who am I? How do I want to show up as a mom? Does it make me a bad mom if I do this? And of course I had to test it by doing the most extreme thing you could do. And turns out you can do both, You
can do both. And the fact that you said that you didn't do anything hard for a couple years, but you did one of the hardest things you can do as a woman, and have a child.
Yes, that's very true.
Like sometimes I think we as fitness professionals like think that, we have to do this massive fitness feat, but sometimes it is this major thing that you have to step back and be like, no, this 1.5-year-old that's walking around one day, that was in my belly. Nuts. I made him.
I still look at him. I'm like, how the fuck does this work? This is nuts. It's so crazy. It's very true. And now you say that, that pulls me back into a mindset of, I made the decision to do an unmedicated birth.
Oh my God.
Fucking nuts, let me tell you.
Oh my
the
goodness.
Craziest
and
experience
you think
of my
she
life.
said, I've never done hard things in years.
Oh, I think there's like hard things as a mom and then hard things as Hannah. And I've spent the last decade understanding that that's what gets me going. That's what I love for me.
Right.
But it does put you in a different mindset. I did do it. And that was a really hard thing to do. And preparing to become a mom, I think pregnancy is such a long experience to give us a little taste of surrender and lack of control and just welcoming the unknown. But yeah, man, I did do something hard. You're right.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, if not the hardest, but in a different form.
And you've done some pretty hard, crazy things. Yeah. So have you always wanted to be a mom?
That's a great question. I've been with my husband since I was 19. Okay. Our first babies were our businesses. We dove in deep. Our lives were chaos, somewhat controlled chaos for almost a decade, right? Of trying to build, grow, reach, achieve all these things. And I remember my husband asking me at like 24, like, or 23, like, when do you want to have kids? And I've never said no, but it would always be like, I need a couple more years. I need a couple more years. And then 8, 9, 10 years later, we're still not even thinking about kids. And then I remember, I don't know what it was. I think it was after we had closed our gym in Fort Lauderdale, where you're just on autopilot. We were running multiple businesses. Every day was just so condensed. So when we stopped doing that, we took a trip and lived in an RV for 10 months. And it was the hardest year of our marriage, the hardest year ever, but the most transformative year. And in that time of like having freedom and flow, go with the flow attitude, becoming parents was something that came up a lot and something that we both have always wanted, but never really had a deadline or a timeline and weren't really in any rush. And so, yeah, I have always seen myself as a mom, but I think I was in between. Like if it doesn't happen, I'm cool with that. Yeah. And if it does, let's go, you know? And we tried for 1.5 years before we got pregnant. Okay. And at the end, we were like, fuck it, let's stop trying. Maybe it's not in our future. Maybe that's not what is our plan is. And that's okay. Like you're my homie. We have a great time. Yeah. We've done a lot in this life. And what happens? And get pregnant.
Yeah. You've come to terms with it. And then it's
Yeah. And then you go, oh shit, I got to get back in the head and mindset of, I'm about to be a mom. We're about to be parents. Like, this is so crazy.
Yeah. And when you're like so used to something for so long, you expect it to kind of be involved in your life, right?
Yeah.
In a way that makes sense, but also this is totally new.
Totally new.
Yeah.
So like biggest learning lesson. Every day is the biggest learning lesson. It's great.
Yeah. So you saw yourself as parents. You knew you wanted to be parents. You were trying. You didn't. Now you are. Do you feel like having a kid now has changed who you are from the fitness side of things, from health and wellness?
Yeah. Yeah. It's expanded me so much. My mom always tells me, she's like, I don't know how you do it, but for some reason you having a kid has calmed you down, like, which is the total opposite of what it does for most women, right? It's like a lot. But man, my life was crazy before this. It was nonstop, and I've never been so present. I've never enjoyed moving so slow. Yeah. Like I absolutely love my life now. I think it was something that maybe I've been seeking, I was always filling a gap with something, whether it's business, a really hard goal, travel, the van life. Yeah. And I think maybe what we were looking for is we've reached a stage in our relationship as individuals and as a couple that we're ready for kids. And I don't think we ever thought that that's what it was. And when it did, like, it's brought us closer together than ever, which is bizarre to think because we were already really close. Yeah. And I think it's made us better people, better humans, more patient, more present, and just more intentional. And
from what I see of now, you have this really nice homestead. You're home a lot. We were talking about this beforehand. Yeah. It feels calmer, but it feels like you have everything you need there now. Yeah. Do you feel more whole at this point in your life?
100%. 100%. And I never thought, I think I made a post on this recently because I was reflecting. I'm like, wow. Like when I was in college, I wanted to be a fashion photographer and travel the world and live a rock and roll lifestyle. Then I found fitness and just thought, I didn't really look beyond, I didn't really look into the future. It was just now. And now here we are. We just built a chicken coop. We were on septic. We got a well. Yeah. Like we're homesteading, growing vegetables. We have no neighbors but llamas and goats and donkeys. Yeah. And life is just so quiet. And this is everything I could ever ask for and more. Yeah. And I don't think that I would have realized that if I kept moving so fast.
Well, I ask you this because I'm mid-30s and been with my husband for 10 years. And we've been talking about this for so long. It's been so back and forth. And being someone in the fitness industry, it's like your livelihood is your body and how you move. And it pushes you to be a better human. And so when you don't have those years of not doing the hard things, it's like, who are you? Yeah. It almost feels like to me, and maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong, it's like when I ran track for a while in high school and college. And then when that went away, I had this massive loss of identity. So I was like, well, who am I now? Did it feel like that a little bit for you?
At the beginning it did. And I think I felt really lost, as in like, I think they'll be surprised. And I hope that we can have conversations right now and after this and forever until you decide if that is something that's in the cards for you and your husband, that not that much changes. I think we feel like it will. if you have the ability to perform in a certain way now, then you will have that after. I feel like I've never been this fit in my life. I might look different. I did,
I know.
You know what I mean? Like Ironman is
yeah.
like, wait, what? That used to be a superhuman feat to me that I would have been so intimidated to do when I had the red hair, was in like cyborg mode and so strong and everything else. I would never do an Ironman. That seems so intimidating. I'm the fittest I've ever been, the happiest I've ever been. And now this year, let's do another podcast in a year, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to build my muscle back, my strength back, my performance back. And it's just another layer. Like I think we think that it's all going to be over and it's not. And then you clearly like a challenge. Yeah. Like, let's see what we can do while we're pregnant. I mean, I was still lifting heavy up until went on a 6-mile hike while I was in labor. Didn't even know I was in labor. You know, like it's totally possible to continue to be who you are. Yeah. I didn't know that. I wish I had more people in my life that would have told me that too, because I was in this, oh, you better get those challenges out the way now because that's going to be over. Or, you know, like, you're not going to be able to make it to the gym when you've got a baby. And so I believe that. And it's not true. If you want to, you'll make time for it. It's totally possible.
Can we go back to the fact that I thought that you had done an Ironman before?
No.
So your first Ironman was 4 months after you started training for it, 4 months after you had a baby, and you wanted to do it within the first year.
So January, I set the goal.
Yeah, I thought you had done one before that.
Never. I'd never done a triathlon.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Not a triathlon even.
I showed up to do a sprint, but it got cancelled, which was such a bummer. Yeah. So my first ever triathlon was a half Ironman in Hawaii, in Kona, like the hardest route.
Yeah.
Ignorance was bliss because I had no idea it was such a hard route. Qualified for World Championships, and that was in June. So the first one was in June. Yeah. Fast forward to September, which was the ultimate goal in Italy. And then I'm like, well, fuck, I got to go to World Championships. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, which was in New Zealand. So those are 2 half Ironmans and a full Ironman in 6 months.
Within the year, just over a year and change of giving birth to your son.
Yeah. Yeah.
She says possible. She can't do hard things.
Anything's possible. I think that like idea of being mom strength, I think it's real.
Yeah.
If you can push a baby out your vagina, you can do anything.
Why the Ironman though? Because you come from HIIT, you come from strength, like you cyborg, you used to do all this other stuff. Like why that thing?
I think that there's a lot of, I don't know. That's a really good question, but let's try and lean into it and figure out the answer now. I think I know that I can do those things.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's in me. I've proved myself in a lot of ways there. Ironman, I grew up with my godmother doing Ironmans. And I remember her doing it and just thinking like, she's a freak. Like, this isn't possible. I don't know what the numbers are. It'd be interesting to pull it up. But the amount of people that can complete an Ironman, right, is a very small percentage. And so that just seems so intimidating to me. I didn't know how to swim. I hadn't been on a bike since I cycled around Iceland. I hadn't been a runner. I did my first 5K. It took me like 27 minutes. I used to run this 18-minute 5K. Yeah. You know, like I was so out of my element that as I built my fitness, it was my chance to build me. And that's what I did. I was like, fuck, man. And it put me back in a place because I was so far off my fitness game. We get comfortable and a little out of touch with what it feels like to be a beginner. And so I was like, I want to be a beginner and get down in the trenches with my community because I have a lot of beginners that are there.
Yeah.
And be able to relate and understand that and also show like, this isn't natural talent, right? This is something so new to me. Yeah. Let's do it together. Like, you know, you don't need to do an Ironman, but find your Ironman and let's build strength and fitness and rebirth ourselves as humans and women, you know?
Yeah. I think the other thing about something like an Ironman or 100 miler, all these like longer distance things is it's so mental. Mm-hmm. Just like what you said about you, like you don't listen to music. You're like in the zone. Like you are in, it is you versus you up here the whole time. Yeah. And I think that is such a huge thing that people don't do enough. Mm-hmm. We get so distracted by the phone or we have music or we have podcasts or something's always going on in our heads. So before you started working, you know, going into this kind of training, did you do that?
Oh God, I'm going to sound like such a psycho to anyone that's not met me. So before I did this, before I got pregnant, I went into a darkness retreat. Have I ever talked to you about this?
No.
Do you know about this?
No.
Oh man. So I had like a bit of a, like when we weren't getting pregnant, I'd just moved. I was away from my family. I had, closed down the business in Fort Lauderdale, trying to understand like where do we go from here, right? Obviously went online and that was amazing, a very detached experience, right? I film to a camera. It's very lonely.
For sure.
And so I was like, where do we go from here? And I went on a bit of like a spiritual soul searching journey, experimenting with plant medicine. Really, I think I was just seeking, again, that word keeps coming up, for something. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I was definitely looking.
Yeah.
And every time you go on like a plant medicine journey, for me, and I'm not speaking for anyone else, you come back and you're like, well, fuck me. Yeah. How do I put all this together, right? It was so, my perspective could have created the reality, right? Of what am I going to do with all this information, all these downloads that I've gotten, right?
Yeah.
And then I'd heard about the Darkness Retreat. Aubrey Marcus did this at the same place. And Aaron Alexander is a good friend of mine. And we were on a road trip and he mentioned he was doing it. And I'd heard about it before, but like it sounded like a crazy thing. And for some reason I was like, dang, like I want to do that. That's maybe what I need, is no substances, just me alone, strip away all distractions. Yeah. You're totally alone in a cave in the middle of Ashland, Oregon, up in the mountains in total pitch black. No one around for 108 hours. Maybe that's what I need, to sit down with my thoughts.
You are very extreme.
I'm so freaking extreme. And I knew that, but when I sit down and have these conversations, it's very obvious. So I went into a darkness retreat. And so to train for that, because I could sit still, I tried to meditate back in the day and it was like 2 minutes. I'm like, I got to email or I need to do laundry and, you know, something's always going on. I never sit still. And when I was gearing up for that, that's when I realized like, oh, hang on a second, like fitness is amazing and is a massive part of my life, but I've been lying to myself if I think that it's my way to test my mind. It's not. It's a way to test my body and my performance and my resilience and my grit and my discipline and all the things. But to test your mind, try sitting alone in silence for 5 minutes if that's not something you're used to. So that started exposing a lot to me, and that really came up in the pandemic. Like, okay, we're all forced to slow down. Yeah. I don't know any other gear but 5, right? Like I can't, even though we have to, I still can't. Yeah. Like I should probably go on a little bit of a journey to try and slow down. So that's what the RV was. And then went into plant medicine, then went into this, went into that, and then landed in the Darkness Retreat, which was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Tell me about that. I'm so interested. And I'm also trying to do the math in my head. 108 days is like 4 days?
4 nights, 5 days. So I went in at like 9 o'clock and came out at like 10 or 11 o'clock.
Fully by yourself. Did you have food and drink?
So you have a room. I'll give you a little visual. Yeah. You have a room with a bed, with little cubbies. You have a full bathroom. Okay. There's a bathtub, meditation spot, and a little bench that you can eat at. And then there's this door that is two-way door. So someone every 24 hours does a wellness check on you to see that you're not losing your mind, which we're all losing our mind. They drop off the food and then you ration your food for 24 hours. And then they come every 24. So they say, like, you have no idea if this is like been 3 days at this point, you know, or 10 hours. And yeah, I did that. And I went in, I think 2 nights before I went into the darkness. Yeah. So I got a lay of the land, got to understand where everything was, talk about presence, crawling around. They had a fireplace that was gated, different textures on the walls. So you know where's what, you know? And I did it. And it was really hard.
I'm panicking right now.
Yeah.
Like literally just thinking about this is like getting me into this panic zone. Like how did you get to that point ever where you were panicked?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the first 3 days, my breakthrough happened on the 3rd day. Yeah. I'm a doer. I have a freaking Tetris square for an itinerary with Excel spreadsheets. Like I am such a planner and like a control freak, total control freak. And so my mind was in doing mode, like trying to figure out how much time's gone by. If I hear my digestion, if I need to take a shit, there must have been this much time since I've eaten, or if I brush my teeth and I can still taste toothpaste, like trying to figure out, right? Trying to understand. And at some point, I just stopped trying to figure out and I just like melted. And before it was really anxious and angry and loud and very angry. And then once I melted it just like softened and totally fell into it, and probably could have kept going, to be honest. Like I loved it after that. Stop trying to plan, stop thinking. and had crazy like psychedelic experiences, but with nothing.
Yeah. So what happened after that? How'd you come out?
I got pregnant the night that I got out.
It was the same night.
Yeah. Well, when I got home. So I stayed a couple of nights and then I got home.
There.
He wasn't there. Got home, got pregnant that day.
Wow.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And then realized like I don't need anything. I have no desire to take any other substance to try and find. It was so much clarity. I had a really personal experience of like going back to memories that I'd had suppressed and rewiring my experience with trauma and having a lot of really uncomfortable conversations with family members and friends and rewriting the narrative, and came out with a lot of gratitude, not like resentment. And it was it cracked me open and softened me of like, oh wait, we decide what happened. Is that the truth? Or is that your version of the story? And so it forced me to I was so curious.
Yeah.
So it forced me to have the conversations that I was scared to have, I think.
What could someone like me who is very scared of this do to maybe get to that place, maybe not get to as deep as you did on their own?
So leading up to this, I needed to figure out how to at least find like a still mind. So I committed to trying to meditate every day.
Yeah.
Started with literally like 3 minutes and then I'm bugging out. And this could be, it's as woo as you want it to be, but there's a guy called Joe Dispenza. Do you know Joe Dispenza?
Of course.
My guy. So he has actually a great show on Gaia, on the Gaia network that you can watch. And it talks about rewiring the brain and the thoughts that we have. And that's fascinating from a scientific point of view. If you want to go a little bit deeper into that, he has a book called The Supernatural or Superhuman. Okay. So that really sparked something in my mind, and understanding brain waves and understanding how to try and find a stiller mind. And so I committed to his meditations and worked my way up to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I think I got to like 45 minutes of being fine in the void, you know, in the like no thoughts.
Yeah. Can you do that now?
I haven't stayed up on, I think you have to continue with the practice.
Yeah.
And it was training for me. Like I needed to train, right, from just the way I am. And so I haven't continued to do it as much, but I'm definitely more comfortable with stillness. Stillness used to make me really uncomfortable. Like I'm behind, I'm failing, I'm not doing enough. There's always too much to handle. And now like I don't pick up my phone until my day starts, which we don't have childcare right now. So I'm in mum mode till 12. Okay. And so I don't touch my phone till 12. Don't care. It can wait. Like these things have changed for me. So I'm okay with moving slow.
So I ask that too because I feel like people go to a retreat or they go and they have this really nice time with family or whatever, and then they come back to their like normal life. How can you potentially take that experience and intertwine it into your life where you can have some of those beautiful thoughts or you can bring in good energy after it's over?
You know, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about what I did, which was the biggest mistake. I'd love to go back into the darkness.
Yeah.
Now I feel like because I have a child, it's a lot of time not with my child. And I feel like I have anxiety and want to leave. But when I did it, I arrived home 2 days after that to a film crew at my house and multiple talent there to film a program. Oh. So I went talking about not integrating, right? So I didn't really have the time to integrate as much as I would have liked. Yeah. But I did continue at that time to like find still mornings, not start with technology, like meditate I live in a very peaceful area. So meditate outside before any caffeine. Yeah. So I would say like journaling, sitting alone with no technology, like a pure morning. Like don't go on your phone and then try and meditate. Like don't touch any technology. Find a space that's quiet, uninterrupted, and just be alone with your thoughts. And I like breath work. Breath work got me through the darkness retreat. Okay. And so there's this one breath work pattern that I do if I'm ever stressed, if I can't sleep, or if I'm feeling just overwhelmed, which is 4-7-8. Have you ever heard of this? Mm-hmm. So big deep breath in for 4, hold it for 7, then exhale for 8. Yeah. So these are things that I've that are memorable from the experience that I can go back to. But if anyone was to try and do it, just put yourself alone with nothing, no music, no podcast, no book, and just close your eyes and see if you can sit still for 5 minutes.
How do you think that has shifted into your health and wellness journey?
I think I'm more intentional. I used to be very like, I don't care what it takes to win. I don't care what I need to do to be my best. And I'm far more intentional with everything that I do now. Far more intentional.
Do you feel like any of that relates to potentially your body image, or how you show up for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't care so much. I also think that's about a lot of motherhood too.
Okay.
Like, I used to be such a stickler with nutrition. Now I'm enjoy a couple drinks. I don't weigh my food. I don't measure my food. I eat. I'm not like, oh my gosh, I've had like, I never used to eat sauces. I never used to go out and eat. That was cheating to me. And now I'm not so anal about all of those things, which has made life great.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a healthier place. I had a really interesting stress-induced hair loss experience that's why I don't have red hair anymore. That was also a massive thing for me, which kickstarted this journey of searching for, I don't know what the fuck, but this is who I was.
Yeah.
Who am I without this red hair?
Right.
Is my brand still going to be worth it if I'm not known as the girl that has red hair that can jump really high?
Yeah.
And I went on the total extreme opposite side of that and was like, I don't want to jump very high. I'm going to focus on bodybuilding. Yeah. Again, super extreme. But I realized like all of the things that I've been able to achieve in my career have got nothing to do with what I look like. And my business is in a better place now than it was when I was unhealthy, thinking that's what was driving my fitness. It's me, you know? And that's a hard thing to see when you're moving so fast.
You know, someone actually commented on a video today that said, isn't your business just your body? You're just selling your body. And I said, abso-fucking-lutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I do it for myself, but that is not, why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to come to my page or expect to look like me based on, what I look like,
For years, that's what I attached it to, though.
Yeah.
For sure I did. If I don't look a certain way, no one's going to want to train with me. Like, I have absolutely held on to that for a very long time. And that's what would get me into 11 p.m. sessions and have 2 hours of sleep, wake up and work out. Like,
yeah,
that's not a way to live, like,
So do you feel like because you became a mom, you were able to shift some of those thoughts? Or was there something else that happened to you?
I think the mom thing is a big thing. And that my spiritual journey really kicked this off for me of like, I got to love me for me and not show up for someone that I think, there's this quote, I say it on a lot of podcasts. It is, I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. And I used to live by that. So I'm going to do everything I do in my life because I think, it's not real, but I think you're expecting me to do that.
Yeah.
When, if you ask the question or have the conversation with the person, they're not thinking it. You're making up this idea of the expectations that the world has for you, which they don't have. They're the expectations you put on yourself. This is where it gets woo-woo, but it's all a fucking illusion. So why be unhappy for an illusion or for an expectation that doesn't exist? And the pandemic really sent me down that loop because I was killing it in my career, doing all the things, but I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
So unhappy. Hair falling out, not being a fitness professional, like not being a practitioner is someone that actually does what they say, recovers what they're supposed to.
Yeah. I'm
filming 16 to 20 workouts a week, just grinding, haven't had a period for 6 months. Like, that's not an example. That's like putting yourself on a pedestal that's unattainable and unrealistic for the people that you're leading. And that's doing them a disservice. So I had a big like moral compass adjustment. And what that looks like for social media, man, I've lost so many followers since I've become a mom. It's great. Literally, it's great. I lost so many followers, but my engagement's gone up.
Yeah.
So the right people are there. People that used to follow me for hardcore workouts probably don't want to hear about lactation and leaking vaginas,
Yeah.
Like massive drop off. And it's okay. That would have rocked my world before. And it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Well, you've also been in the game for a really long time.
Yeah.
And probably know yourself a lot better.
Yeah.
And we're also just getting older. And some of that shit just does not fucking matter
Age
anymore.
is a big thing, right?
It really is such a huge thing. Like, I've been on Instagram for 11 years. I'm like,
nuts.
It's crazy to think about it. But I used to like just be so caught up in the likes and the followers. And I'm just like, who actually cares?
Yeah.
And also, no one's really truly looking or cares
about
what you're doing anyway.
I know.
Like, truly, they really don't care.
Would you agree that you had that same connection or attachment to output for the wrong reasons, and since you've grown up a little bit, it's changed?
100%.
What changed for you?
I mean, the biggest thing was I was so insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my life I was just like, I even talk about drinking a lot because I don't drink alcohol anymore. But like when I used to in my early 20s and late teens and stuff, I would like do it because I was just felt so insecure.
Yeah, it was like a way of taking the edge off.
Yeah. And so back then when I posted bikini photos or this is what I look like or transformation, it was because I wanted validation.
Yeah.
Now I post it because I know that I'm fucking feel good.
Yeah.
And, you know, just I'm so much more balanced in my life. But I think that just the age and the experience behind it now has just been such a game changer.
And what a tough thing to withhold.
Yeah.
11 years, I'm with you. It's been over a decade. It's like, I think the ultimate version or meaning for success for me is being truly authentic, man. Like, take down all the masks. I used to wear so many masks.
Yeah.
And showing up as who I thought people wanted me to be. And I've discovered that that's not it.
I love I'm not pregnant and don't have a baby, but I will watch all of your lactation and like,
really?
Yeah, you know, like because I like the humanness.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people appreciate the most is that you can be human. I actually started like a few years ago being like, here, you know, cellulite and stretch marks and pimples and all these things are normal things. But it's like when you're so used to the filter being on the screen or someone showing up in their beautiful aesthetic house, it's like that's what you think is reality.
Totally. And it's not. It's so not. And I've been in the world of social media, fitness, business for so long, and I get to meet some amazing people that the outside in sees them as these heroes, and they're broken, man. That was a big thing for me too, is getting exposure to some of the most successful people in this world, right? And then you meet them and you're like, oh, you learn more about them, and it's like, like, is that what I'm because I used to look at them as inspiration. Like, does that really inspire me? Or would I rather have less and feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to ask you actually about your environment, the people around you. Like, did that shift a lot when you made this shift?
Yes and no. So I was really weird at the beginning of social media. I started my account in like 2012. I started to really grow a lot in 2013, 2014, 2015. And because I was so afraid of losing myself, I didn't make new friends. So I have had my group of friends since before fitness, before boobs, before red hair, before when Hannah was a broken little girl, right? Yeah. And they're still my best friends. And I felt like I needed that to stay grounded, not lose myself, et cetera, et cetera. And then I started like making this weird assumption that anyone on Instagram was a douchebag. And I really believed that for a second. And then when I did a lot of work and went on this personal development journey, I'm like, actually, it's probably not true. And there's probably some really dope people that are like-minded and I can connect with a lot. And so I started, like, the people that I'm Instagram friends with, some of them are now my best friends, right? And so that changed a lot for me, which I'm so glad I did, because they're amazing people trying to do something similar that I am. And they're still grounded. They're still good people. And we inspire each other. So I have a lot of friends that are extremely successful in the fitness industry. And I've also got my OG friends that I've had since day one. So it's a good balance.
So those people that you saw that you thought you wanted to be inspired or role model-y, when you met them in real life, were you like, all right, that's all I need?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
And there's not maybe at a social gathering. It could be at a business event.
Yeah.
The behind the scenes, the after parties, the conversations. The fitness industry is really small. Everyone thinks it's massive. It's a very small world. Yeah. And the business coaching industry as well is very, very small. So you look at these people and you're like, wow, they've achieved it all. They've got everything. And then you see behind the door, it's like, actually, no, they don't. Because at that level of what we were talking about, what we were attached to, something's got to go. Something's got to break. You know, it's not possible to do all of that to that level of excellence and still feel fulfilled. Yeah. And if it is, someone give me the secret, because I don't know what it is yet. Yeah. You know?
And you are the type of person that is like, well, I want the secrets because I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You're 5. Go all in. Yeah.
Let's go all in. Yeah. But yeah, I feel good. And it's funny because you remove the pressure of expectations for yourself and what you think people have on you, and you become more authentic. Your creativity comes back. And then I've found myself again in this new Hannah 2.0 and started new businesses, honed in on what is really good. And if we're looking at success, right? I'm whatever the fuck that means. I'm more successful now than I was then. And I'm happy. I'm fulfilled with achievement. And before I was just achieving and so unfulfilled.
What can we give someone that maybe is in this vicious cycle of like, have to do it all, and if I don't do it all, it's not going to work, or I'm not going to be fulfilled for it?
I would say before you start building is understand your core values. Mm-hmm. I have a COO. She's amazing. I think you might have met her, Erica. She's awesome. I'll give her a huge shout out. Yeah. She came into my world when I was like burned down to the ground. She knew me as a member at my gym when I had my gym. Mm-hmm. She came in and she was helping me with some like little odd jobs with fulfillment at my apparel company. So she saw the behind the scenes, right? She saw who I was working with as a team, and I had like multiple members of staff on payroll. I was running this massive corporation and it was just overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And the first question she asked me, she was like, can I quit my full-time successful corporate job and be your COO? Like, I want to take control of operations because you're doing that and you're the CEO and you're the face and you're this and you're that. Like, you need to stay at doing what you're good at. And the first thing she asked me was, what do you want your life to look like? Mm. And I was like, well, goddamn, no one's ever asked me that. And I don't know. I've never slowed down enough to look 5-10 years into the future and be like, what do I want my lifestyle to look like? Not my business. What do I want my life to look like? What time am I working? Am I traveling? Am I going home am I working on Fridays? Am I having dinner with my husband? Like visualizing, like trying to create that imagination for myself. And it was nothing like the life I was living. So we rebuilt from the ground up. Took a little longer, but we're finally there, which prepared me. This was before we even thought about having kids. Yeah. And I knew that that was something on my mind for the future. And if I didn't start building that then, I wouldn't know. So my advice would be before, or if you're in it right now, pause and look into the future through a glass ball, right? What does that look like? And are you living that life to get to that? Or are you creating so much chaos that the only way your business will succeed is if you continue in that chaos? There is a way of doing it in a different approach. It may take a little longer. You have to let go of control. Mm-hmm. But if you stay consistent and hold on to the end vision, it will all fall into place. And core values is the number one thing.
What if they don't have someone as beautiful and special as Erica?
To do that for themselves. Yeah. I still think you can do it for yourself. Like, with my app, I was pumping out 5 new follow-alongs a week.
I don't know how.
Okay, neither fucking do I. Know how. I lost my hair. During the pandemic, it was possible when we're locked inside, right? Mm-hmm. That helped skyrocket my subscription. Like, nauseating. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. Yeah. But I had to check in with myself and be like, I hate this. I'm now crying before I'm turning the camera on and pretending to be in a good mood. Like, this is so out of alignment. I'm starting to hate fitness. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, that's not sustainable. Yeah. I was about to burn it all to the ground. And I had a big wake-up call. I'm like, I need to change the model. And it hurt my subscription for a little bit. And now it's like videos. I put 5 fresh new workouts. There's hundreds, because I used to do that for years, of follow-alongs in there. And now, I just program. And I used to do it on my own. Now I have someone on my team that will build the workouts out for me. Right. So now I get to train for me. And like those little adjustments that I thought, I'm only going to succeed if I keep doing this, I would have been bold and, very unhappy, or quit and deleted it all. Yeah. So little changes like that. Yeah. Press pause on the podcast. Yeah. I was just grasping at everything, trying to make it all happen. Yeah. So a big wake-up call.
Are you around mostly entrepreneurs in your life? Do you have people that work a quote-unquote normal 9 to 5?
I'm mostly around entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I would say a lot of our listeners and probably audience and my clients are more on the 9 to 5 realm. And it's sometimes a little hard to relate because we are such doers, and you work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. because that's normal for us. But for so many people, they are in this, like, here's our scheduled 9 to 5 hours. So if maybe they're in a job, how could they take some little pieces of this and
it's a really good question,
shift it to make sense for them?
I'm also an enabler of taking massive risk.
Love it.
And I grew up in my dad still grinds and works so hard from like 8 to 10, like the 9 to 5 started as that and now it's something else. Yeah. So I see the grind and I see it. But I'd be the first person to challenge everyone to stop for just a moment, even if it's for 20 minutes in the morning, wake up 30 minutes earlier before you start your day and you have to get into the go mind. Yeah. Because so many people move so fast and they never stop to think, which was me. And ever since I stopped to think is when my life changed, right? And I felt a lot happier. Right. And really ask yourself, like, are you doing what you love right? I always focus on 3 things, like your profession or occupation, in case you're being a mom is your occupation. That's also a job, right? So your occupation, your personal life, and your relationships. And like give a day for each, spend 20 minutes and like journal about where you're currently at, what would feel better, or like where do you want to be? Dream for a second, right? We don't dream enough as individuals. And if there's a massive misalignment, it's not too late. If you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen. And you can restart even if you're 50, 60. I am a massive believer in that. So if anyone is feeling all the things I described, of feeling extremely unhappy, almost to the point of compromising your health, and you're going in circles and no circles and circles, you have control to change, and you're responsible with what happens for the rest of your life. And it's possible. It is possible. And that doesn't mean quitting a job and trying to start a business, but your relationships, your personal self, like what are you doing for you? And this is massively towards mums too, because we feel guilt if we do anything for ourselves, and et cetera, et cetera. And I do think that everyone should focus on those 3 things. And even if they change just a little bit of one of them, that all of those things together bring us more fulfillment in life.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to do. You could press pause and actually do that right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to your fitness journey, because that's where we're at now. So you were HIIT junkie, you bodybuilding for a little while, you're an Ironman, you had a baby, you're trying to refocus your lifestyle. What does it look like for you right now? And is there an actual goal in mind for you this year?
Yeah, I'm laughing because the Ironman was like my goal, right? And then I'm like, okay, this year I lost 15 pounds. Like I need to gain my muscle back. I love muscle, and it's something that I feel strong in my body and in my mind when I have more muscle in my body. And so that was the goal. And then a new opportunity just got dropped in my lap like a week ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. It's an ultra.
It's fun, she says.
But it's as a team.
Okay.
So it's a little different approach, right? It's been a very lonely journey training alone.
Yeah.
You know Vivo, Barefoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a team of Vivo. I've worked with Vivo for like 7 years.
Amazing.
And so there's the race called the Speed Project.
Okay.
BPN, Nick Bear, Lucy Davis, they all did it last year. They released a documentary. You should watch it if you're listening. It's pretty cool.
Is this the one where you run in circles? It's like
you
the
run
4
from
mile?
LA.
Oh, no. Okay.
No. So you run from LA to Vegas.
Okay.
And it's like a really mysterious route. There's no race directors. There's no route. You got to find your way there.
Cool.
And it's 340 miles.
Cool.
So you divvy it up whatever the strategy is. But the challenge and the kicker with this is we're trying to do it as the first time ever barefoot. So running in barefoot shoes is a whole other challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like and I'm trying to not do any long-term damage. So I'm starting like as a student. I'm a total beginner. Even though I'm really fit, it's not good to be fit because I'll do damage and won't be able to finish, right? So our strategy is 30 minutes, 5K bursts each, 10 people on a team, rotate. There's an RV following us.
Yep.
So logistically, they'll know where to pick us up at.
Cool.
And keep going until we've hit Vegas.
When is that?
It's in March. It's March 28th.
So it's literally
it's a couple months away. Yeah. So for me, fitness-wise, that's something that's on the table. I'm not making it my everything, because we're only going to be running in 30-minute bouts. Like this morning, I did a 30-minute run in Vivos. This afternoon, I'll probably do another. So I'm taking it a lot lighter. Like I committed my life to the Ironman. Not going to do that. And then I'm just trying to bring fun back into fitness. You know, I love cycling, running, and swimming, but there was no more space. That's where the guilt came in. I was not willing to put another minute in the gym to do my strength training because it was so much time away from my family already and my businesses and my husband that I didn't. So I lost a lot of strength. And so my goal is to build that back this year.
So you have been so regimented for so long. How does it feel to be more like in the flow with your fitness?
Feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good, but I also need even after all this time, I don't know about you, but I can't just show up without a plan. So I'm making the workouts on my app when I'm doing. So I'm going more High Rocks vibes, which maybe you're doing High Rocks, right?
No, I am not.
You should. You're such a killer athlete.
I'm not a High Rocks person.
Neither did I think I was, but I'm watching it and I'm like, I could get down with this.
But that's because you run.
Yeah.
I haven't run more than 3 miles in approximately 5 years, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want a joint venture, I'm jumping on the wagon. I'm not setting a date to compete. I just want to get in High Rocks shape.
Okay.
I've built this fitness. I'm like, I got to do something with it.
I would only do doubles. And if
I'll do it.
Let's
go. I would love to.
Look at that. Awesome. We just set up another goal.
There you go. I'm down for it.
Awesome.
This year is weird though, because I looked at the calendar. I was trying to set like a goal for my whole community we could meet at like a high rocks competition. But it looks like after March, it's more you have to qualify for championships, et cetera, et cetera. So it might be something. There's one in April, but I got a lot of weird things going on this year, which are cool things.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll be able to compete this year, but I want to get in that shape.
Cool.
And see where it goes.
I mean, you could easily do that for sure.
Yeah, dude, I've lost it. It's amazing what happens if you don't strength train. If you don't use it, you lose it.
So let's talk about how great strength training is for the audience, please. Especially as women, especially as we age.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it so necessary?
Oh, man. Bone density, strength at end ranges, mobility, just strength. You know, this is, I don't want to speak too much, but I just got off the phone with my nana. I called her on the way here.
Yeah.
She's 90 and she had a health issue that stopped. She was mobile as anything and such an inspiration. Our whole life, there's pictures of us both doing the splits until she was like told she should stop at 85 or something. Okay. So she's very active, very mobile, going to aerobics all the time. Age was not defying her. And then in the pandemic, when she couldn't do that anymore, she stopped moving. And since she stopped moving, her health has rapidly declined. She's in chronic pain all the time. Her arthritis has gotten even worse. And I look at that, and that's a massive eye-opener, right? You stop moving your body stops working for you.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so important, especially for women. Like, we need to be strong. We need to be able to hold our own and protect ourselves too, you know, and strength is a massive part of that. And I love strength training. The feeling you get, huh?
Did you get her back into it?
She's too far gone. She's in such bad shape right now. Yeah.
So when you get to, I mean, 90 is at a point where it's like if you don't use it, you actually do lose it. In 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe you could take a little break and you can come back in. But when you get to that point, it's like you've got to keep moving your body.
Don't leave it too late, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because, I think movement keeps us alive.
Okay. Well, let's root for Nana.
Yeah, root for Nana, man. She's amazing.
Nana.
Yeah.
Where does she live?
She's in England.
Oh, nice.
We're going to go out there again in April, which is where I'm going. So we've got a wedding, lots of fun things.
Amazing. So strength training for women, obviously we know that's really important. Taking rest, creatine. What other little like maybe tips could you give women as they age?
I am a massive, take it for what you want. I know a lot of people think that it's like a fad and a trend, but cold plunging and saunaing, I'm massive into contrast therapy.
Okay.
Not only for the physical benefits that it gives us, right? Reducing inflammation, increasing blood flow, all the things, getting rid of metabolic waste. But for me, it's mindset. Like women, we're in our head a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we are.
We are probably naturally anxious human beings. And if I don't let me reword it. Since I've started making contrast therapy a massive part of my life, which I'll give cliff notes, like we don't need to have a plunge or a sauna at home to do this. Obviously, that's not accessible for everyone. It's changed my game. As far as stress management, I feel a little bit more peace of mind. I sleep a lot better. Oh, that's what my tip would be. So before I go on to sleep, cold shower, which I think is actually harder than a cold plunge. Like once you've taken
harder.
Oh, dude, I hate it.
Really?
I hate it.
Maybe my shower just doesn't get cold enough because I'm like, Texas temperatures and the plumbing, I'm like, this isn't actually that bad.
When you've had a hot shower and then you crank it to cold?
Yeah.
Oh man, I hate that. I don't know why. I think there's something about like getting into a cold tub that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But water splashing me cold is like not my thing.
No, thank you.
Or dunking your head in a bucket, a little bowl of ice.
Yeah.
It gives you that same like endorphin rush, right? Yeah. But also then levels you out afterwards. Feels really good. Yeah. Contrast therapy, crank up your shower. I haven't really thought about that one, but that's what I would take a really hot and do just like extremes of both. Okay. But sleep. Yeah. Okay. Sleep is something that is majorly overlooked. I used to think that I don't need more than like 5 hours of sleep. Yeah. I'm like, that's not true. Then I got pregnant and was like, I need to take care of myself and sleep well.
Yeah.
And my goodness, my brain works a lot better with more sleep. Recovery works a lot better. I'm preaching to the choir right now because I am going through the issues of trying to sleep train my toddler.
Okay.
And made them not mistake. I absolutely love co-sleeping. He slept in my bed since day one, but transitioning out of that has been really challenging.
I'm sure.
So my sleep is broken.
Yeah.
And very interrupted, but I'm still getting like 10 hours of total sleep. The quality isn't that great, but those are things to think about.
Yeah.
Do you sleep a lot?
Yeah, I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like really good sleep. Although, do you use any sleep tracker?
I do. I wear my watch.
Do you like it? Does it help? Is it helpful?
I look at my sleep score first thing in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should try it because I think that I'm sleeping really well, but who knows? Like maybe.
So I'm having this conversation, this massive like butting with heads with my dad right now.
Okay.
My mom's telling me, your dad has sleep apnea. I can hear it. It scares the living shit out of me because I think he's like choking. Yeah. And my dad's like, no, I don't. I sleep great.
Yeah.
So he's now got a new watch. We're tracking his sleep.
Okay.
And he can't get into a deep sleep. He can't get into the end of the cycle because he's interrupted from like the valve getting smaller in his nasal passage and he's like, can't breathe, right?
Yeah.
And I was listening to a podcast with Chris Williamson that had a sleep expert on recently.
Yeah.
And he said sleep apnea is 80% of people that have sleep apnea don't think that they have sleep apnea because they think you don't know, you're asleep, right? But it's also one of the fastest ways to invite disease and put yourself into the ground many years before you really should. Yeah. So sleep, the quality of sleep, I think can really help us live longer and live a better quality life.
Do you sleep with your watch on?
I do.
I can't sleep with anything on me. I don't even sleep with rings or earrings, nothing.
I'm that person. I've got all flat backs, not these hoops, obviously.
Yeah.
I sleep in my earring. I'll lose it all if I don't. I sleep in all my jewelry and I sleep in my watch.
Yeah, I got to get used to it because I want to see what that looks like.
Or a ring. I had that, what's it called? Aura ring.
Yeah.
It's great. I've heard that's really accurate. Would that bother you too?
Yeah, no. I'm like, I got to try something because I do want to like check it out just to see if like the sleep is actually doing it.
Yeah, because I think that's interesting you say that. Because you're asleep, you think you're sleeping good.
Yeah.
But data will tell you, like,
well, of course,
how much
like your
deep
dad.
sleep, exactly. How much REM are we getting, you know?
Yeah.
And do we wake up often? Yeah, it's interesting.
So when you switch your sleep to now, I mean, obviously with this right now, it's hard. How did you get your sleep to be better before the sleep training?
I actually just went to bed earlier. Like when I was pregnant was a perfect example. And the first 7 months of we got very lucky, I guess, but my child slept like a saint. He was sleeping 12 hours straight from 0 to 7 months.
Okay,
it was
wow.
Amazing.
Yeah. I
had better sleep scores with an infant, with a newborn than I had in my life because I just never used to sleep as much. I'd wake up, grind in the morning, work till really late at night, you know? And so I just started to go to bed earlier. Yeah. And if I used to be like, I can't sleep, I used to tell myself that story. We don't have a TV in our house, which is probably a big thing.
Yeah.
And if I read and I'm tired, I can't even get past 3 pages and I'm going to pass out.
Yeah.
So I sleep like that. We're also mouth tapers.
Okay. See, you do all these
weird things.
Tell me about the mouth tape. Is this necessary?
Probably not.
Okay.
But here's a question. Do you ever wake up and you've got the driest mouth?
Yeah, but not that often. Not often
I
enough
do.
to be
I think I'm a massive mouth breather unless I'm not breathing through my mouth because I'm taped up. Yeah. So I always mouth breathe. Even if I'm not like focusing on what I'm doing, I get really focused. I can hear myself like Darth Vader. I'm like, So there's a book by James Nestor called Breathe, which I read, which changed the game for me for like facial structure and how it's not good for us, et cetera, and with autoimmune diseases and stuff. But all of that aside, I tried it. My husband started and I was like, you're a loser.
Yeah.
What, you look crazy.
And here you are.
And then here I am. I'm a loser too. I just taped my mouth and realized like if I'm a little bit congested, especially in Texas, do you get this? Like allergies? I thought it was all a myth and it's real.
Yeah.
And even if I'm congested and I stay really calm, if you're congested and you tape your mouth, your nasal passage clears up. It's fascinating. And yeah, I would sleep that way and wake up feeling great, not interrupted. So my sleep watch would show that I wasn't waking up so much. And I wouldn't wake up with Gandalf's foot in my mouth, you know?
Do you use specific mouth tape?
No, we used Johnson & Johnson's like lifting tape.
Oh, regular.
Yeah, but I have to have a little bit of chapstick on my lips and then put it here. Or my husband will do the silicone tape this way so that if he needs to, he can breathe. You know?
Interesting.
He'll wake up and he must have taken it off in his sleep because it's like
all the way behind him. Yeah, he's like, wow, I'm learning so much. Like all these like different little things I could do. You mentioned really briefly, we'll get into this and then we'll finish off with some rapid fire supplements. Mm-hmm. You used to be someone that took a lot of supplements, kind of took a break from it, but now potentially want to get back in them. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah. I don't believe in like fat burners. I'm not a massive fan of supplements, to be honest. Like the supplements that I do take is protein and creatine.
Yeah.
That's it. Before I was taking here's the thing. When you don't care about what you put in your body so much, you take everything and then think that's what you need to perform the way that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get pregnant and you start being so aware of everything that you're putting in your body, from caffeine to supplements to cognitive enhancers. And turns out I actually don't need all these things. So that was a story I told myself. I used to drink so much caffeine, in the morning, at 12, at 3, like coffee all day. And now, when I was pregnant, I drank like half a cup in the morning and was fine. Then when I had my baby, I'm breastfeeding and my child has a lot of energy. I don't need to give him any more.
Yeah.
And now I'll like barely drink 1 cup of coffee and it's 2:20. I've been up since 5. Like I'm ready to run a marathon right now. I don't need these boosters and that I thought I did. So I'm only taking 1 scoop of protein in my coffee, more so to help me with my protein total, and creatine.
Yeah.
And that's it. And 5-HTP I wouldn't suggest that for anyone. That's just for the situation I'm in right now with my mood being a little bit off and serotonin levels being a little unbalanced.
Okay.
But that's it. That's all I'm taking.
Cool.
I
love an easy. Yeah, I'm a creatine protein type person. That's it. I can't do pre-workout ever.
I used to love that stuff.
Crazy. My hands just get so tingly. I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And those are like the 2 things. I do love coffee though.
I do too. I do love it, but maybe after the breastfeeding thing goes away. But if I drink caffeine after 12 now, I'm not sleeping very well. I'm also like going to bed at like 8:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 8:50 last night.
That sounds nice.
So amazing. All right, let's finish off with some rapid fire questions. How much protein does someone need for their day?
I like a rule of 1-to-1, 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight.
I love that.
Good place to start.
What can we give them in kilos?
In kilos?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm raised on the metric system. I don't know.
I know. That's why I asked you.
I just had family here from England, and they were so embarrassed about me. The aluminum instead of aluminium. Like I've had the ring. I've been in the ringer this week.
Do you at least spell favorite with a U?
I don't.
Come on.
I've been here now in the States longer than I lived in England.
There you go. Okay, so
I'm a little ashamed.
Don't get it. I would say I believe it's 0.8 to 1 gram per pound. And then I believe it's 0.5.
You're asking. All I know is that in pounds, for weightlifting, to figure out my kilos, I'd times it by 2.3.
It's really 2.22.
Round up, baby.
I'm stronger than I think. What's your favorite high protein snack? Go to high protein snack.
Oh, right now I'm crushing, like we call it Chucky eggs in my family. I don't know if that's
eggs?
Chucky. I don't know why. Maybe someone said that when they were a child, but I boil 4 eggs, 7 minutes, whip them out, deshell them, quick hack, rinse them under ice cold water, and it creates a little space. And then mush it up with a little bit of butter and a slice of sourdough with salt and pepper. Whew.
That's it.
That's it.
It's so basic.
It's so basic, but I do it in the morning, at night, and that's 6 to 7 grams of. I eat so many eggs, which is why we're getting.
That is a lot of eggs.
Yeah,
wait.
dude.
So you said 4 eggs?
3 to 4.
Okay, but an egg is 6 grams. That's 18. You're having that twice a day. Yeah. Wow, that is a lot of eggs.
Yeah, I love eggs.
Makes sense that you have your own eggs.
We haven't gotten chickens yet because we haven't stayed home long enough to raise them.
Right.
We'll figure March. If you want to come see some chicks.
March. After or before
before.
Yeah.
It's my only stretch of being home for long enough.
What is one small habit? We talked about a lot of habits. So what is one thing that you can give to someone that they can improve their health and wellness?
I don't know if this is a habit, but watching less TV opens up a whole nother world.
What does less mean? I guess
we don't have a TV in our house, okay?
Yeah.
But we just got a projector. And here's the thing. We've got a lot of natural light, so you can't turn the projector on during the day. So you're not watching TV during the day. And I have a Nordic Track Bites, which stream like Netflix and all that good jazz. But I think cutting off TV then, if you are like a binger, by 8 o'clock and picking up a book, it changes not only what time you go to sleep, expands your knowledge. Like I think that would be a habit I would highly suggest.
I'm going to add a phone to that. Because like the TV, we only have one TV in the house and we'll have it like at night, but we don't bring the phone in the bedroom at all.
Oh, I love that.
It's not allowed in the bedroom. It's not allowed at the kitchen table. That's like our thing, because I feel like that's an easy way to get sucked in really fast.
And it's so crazy how you before you know it, you're like, wait, What am I doing?
What time is it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're just got out the shower and you're like rocking back and forth, going through the scroll hole. It's a terrible place to be.
I know.
Scary.
Yeah, it is really scary. Okay, let's leave it on a not scary note. Where can people find you? Where can people talk to you and see all of your videos on lactation?
Oh, man. My main channel on social media is Instagram, HannahEden_fitness. All the things to do all the things with me are on hannahedenfitness.com. I do have a really exciting business that I'm doing right now that I love everything that I'm doing, but I started this last year, which is to take the knowledge that I've learned over the last decade about building an online fitness business and trying to help other women do the same thing. I think that a lot of people want to get into fitness and they have a skill set, they have potentially an audience, but they don't know how to do the business part. And so I've got so many, because of my weird brain, a lot of SOPs, a lot of blueprints and systems and processes that we've done to kind of streamline and make it a smoother experience. So I've shared that, and I have an academy. So it's called the Dofer Academy, and it's the highlight of my week. I have a coaching call with them every week. And yeah, watching other women win is like something that's really getting me off right now, Tara.
I love that. Yeah. That's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time. I just love learning so much more about
Thank you so much. This has been a great conversation.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.